Good Tuesday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. Well, across northern Michigan, it's been a pretty quiet evening for most of us, seeing a little bit warmer, more mild temperatures, but no rain, no snow. Everything is pretty calm right now, but that could soon change, right, Joe?
Yeah, it is. And the main event is later tomorrow and tomorrow night. And we're looking at rain, some snow, maybe a rumble of thunder in a couple spots too. So, you know, when we're talking thunder and snow, we're in March most likely, or April, and that'll be the case going forward. But still pretty quiet out there tonight, Maya. But we are expecting that rain and snow. We'll look at when that arrives and how much a little later.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. Our top story tonight is a statewide story. So Michigan could be tacking on a new tax on vape and other non-tobacco nicotine devices. Governor Gretchen Whitmer proposed a new vape tax beginning in January of next year. And if it's signed into law, a new tax rate on vapes, e-cigarettes, and other non-tobacco nicotine products would be 32% of the wholesale price. Now, this is the same rate imposed on non-cigarette tobacco products under the Tobacco Products Tax Act. And additionally, stores would not be able to sell any vaping products that are not authorized by the FDA. Civil or criminal sanctions could be imposed for either having or selling those products. Now, about half of the revenue from the new tax would be aimed at supporting smoking prevention programs, while the other half would be targeting the Medicaid Benefits Trust Fund. Let's take a look at our question of the day related to this story now. Do you think that vape and other non-tobacco products should be taxed like cigarettes? Scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to our website. And if you're watching on your phone, you can always just pull up our website, UpNorthLive.com, and scroll down a little bit and you'll see this poll question. As of right now, it looks like we have 157 votes. 74% of voters are saying yes. They think that vape and other non-tobacco products should be taxed like cigarettes, and 26% say no. We will continue to keep an eye on those results, and we'll also look at a few of your comments. So if you want to join the conversation, go to our Facebook page, Up North Live. We have a post with the poll. You can leave a comment there. You can also leave a comment right on this live stream. So if you're watching on TV, just pull up your phone. We're live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. You can leave a live comment right there, and we will take a look at that at the end of the show. All right, a little closer to home now. It's been a late summer staple for northern Michigan County for decades. But tonight, organizers with the Antrim County Fair admit they are facing some challenges that could put its future in question. Something needs to change, and they are confident they can do that. But in the meantime, they say they could use a little bit of your help. Here's Mark Chalette with that story.
The snow's still melting at the Antrim County Fairgrounds. August and the hustle and bustle of the annual fair feels a long way off for board members. But right now, it's kind of top of mind.
I love this fair. I guess I've put a lot of time and energy into it, and I hope to see it continue.
Hope, because right now the fair board has a shortfall.
So last year we spent $30,000 to put the fair on. And brought in $20,000. So we were $10,000 deficit last year.
For more than 40 years, the county fair has served an important role.
So I think the fair is important because it teaches the youth a lot of lessons, how to raise animals, how to make things for themselves, how to produce for themselves.
That's true at any fair, but the challenge here is a little more unique.
So our fair is unique because we are so small that we can't afford things like grandstand events and carnival rides.
And that makes most other fairs enough cash to cover expenses. But without those, coupled with all the events being free to attend here, has led to a harsh possibility.
Worst case scenario, the fair will be cut.
The board doesn't want that. And so they're getting to work with tweaks to their sponsorship program in hopes of generating more long-term reliable funding, as well as considering the need to start charging for admission to events.
It's not what we'd prefer to do, but it's becoming necessary that there's a charge for some of the events.
They say they're making longer-term changes in their business model to keep the fair around for a longer time.
It was a very valuable part of my upbringing, and I want that to be there for my kids and all the other kids of the county.
In the meantime, they have a GoFundMe to address the $10,000 deficit from last year.
It's significant to us. It's a big chunk for us, but I think it's something that we can correct and find ways to bring in those finances.
The Antrim County Fairgrounds are awfully quiet this time of year. The board members hope it's not nearly as quiet come August, and that the changes they're making internally and the support they get externally will be enough to get and keep them here for decades to come.
I've been coming to this fair for 20 plus years now. I would hate to see it go away.
That was Mark Gillette reporting, and this year's fair is scheduled for early August. Now, the GoFundMe is more of an urgent fix to the situation, but again, they have set up a new sponsorship program for local individuals and businesses that may provide more sustainable funding. We have much more information on the GoFundMe and the fair situation over on our website, UpNorthLive.com. Next up, we have an update for you on a story that we have been following since last week, on the attempt to pull the Asable River Queen out of the water at Oscoda's Footsite Park. This after the boat sank last week. So as you can see here, the efforts are underway, but those efforts kind of ran into a bit of a issue today. An operation is halted for now. So you can see a whole crowd watching as crews from the EPA, Eagle, and Consumers Energy tried to pull the boat up and level it so they could pump water out. That did not work, and the township telling us that the River Queen may be wedged into the mud. And crews are also concerned that too much pressure on the boat could actually cause it to break apart.
Very nervous about something happened to the structure of it and snapping in half, or whatever can happen, because I don't know what happened to make it sink that quickly. So something's not right.
Now, Rice says she won't be able to fully assess the damages until the boat is out of the water. Environmental crews will remain on site as they regroup on the next best solutions to try to remove the boat. But until then, Footsite Park will remain closed. Now, this is a story that our reporter, Audrey Boucher, has been covering pretty much since last week when the boat originally sank. She joins us live now. Hey, Audrey, thanks so much for coming on Unscripted to talk a little more about this latest update. So let's start off with, you were there today when crews attempted to pull the riverboat out of the water. Of course, they were unsuccessful. What was the mood from the crowd, the crews, and the owner who we just heard from of the boat?
I think a lot of people were really kind of hopeful the boat was going to be pulled out within hours, but that unfortunately was not the case. They had a huge tow truck and a huge bulldozer with some cables. They were trying to lift the boat back up to try to get her level, but I think she's just too heavy, and she just started to, the cables were snapping. Things were just not working out how I think they had intentionally planned. And I know Lori, the owner, she's hopeful they can get it up without having to cause any damage to the boat, but it's kind of uncertain right now where they kind of go from here, because this first plan isn't really working out too well.
So at this point, is there a plan B that we know of?
That I don't know of. I heard some kind of talk about possibly bringing in a crane. That's not confirmed. I know when I had left, they were still trying to wrap up the whole cable thing, but the boat hadn't moved. She's still kind of wedged the way she is. But I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful they'll figure out a new plan to try to get her going, because I don't know if this one they're doing right now is gonna work.
Are they still there trying to get it out of the water right now?
I know when I had left, they were still on site. I know they've been there since 8 a.m., so I don't think they're going to work into the night to try to pull her out. I think they're going to, I know when I was there, they had to take a pause and kind of regroup because the cables were snapping and the tow truck was kind of lifting up off the ground. That's how heavy the River Queen is. So I think they kind of have to regroup and try to come up with a new plan, or try to figure out how they can try to rewrap around the boat, but nothing super certain.
So do we know when they'll be back out there trying out a new plan?
I believe they're going to be there tomorrow.
Okay.
They're still trying to, there's a whole lot to kind of go into this. I know when I had left, they were removing some chains. They were trying to, I think, put some back on, but it's kind of hard because how do you attach them onto the boat since she is partially submerged without ripping off like pieces of it?
And we did hear Lori say this, but at this point, we really don't know what initially caused the boat to sink, right?
Yeah. When I had talked to her yesterday, it's kind of suspected that maybe there was a crack in the front of the hull and it took on water and kind of froze and just kept getting heavier and heavier. That's a possibility, but they're really not going to know a whole lot until they're able to actually remove her up out of the water and then kind of reassess kind of all the damages.
And Lori is still hoping that there won't be too many damages and that the boat will be able to be back in the water for the summer season, right?
Oh yeah, this is, when I talked with her, she said it might be an inanimate object, but it's a family member to her. It's like her child, right? She loves this boat. She's had it in her family for a very, very long time. It's been her business, her livelihood for decades. Her dream is to make sure, like, you know, it doesn't get super damaged and it can float again. And she said if that's not possible, she will find whatever she can do to just kind of preserve this piece of history, whether she turns it into a museum or just puts it on a pond to live in it, is what she said. But she wants to make sure it floats again. That's her dream.
Right. Keep the legacy alive, hopefully. So we saw in your video that a lot of people were there just kind of watching all of this unfold as crews tried to get the boat out of the water. Did you talk with those people about, you know, what made them want to come down and watch this all happen?
I know was able to talk to quite a few. A lot of them, it's kind of ties here in Oscoda. Everyone that I talked to, they've been on this boat. One guy, he got married on there back in 2018. So everybody kind of has like a memory on the boat. I have a memory on the boat. I went out in the third grade. So it's crazy to see her like that. And a lot of people were out there because they're hopeful that it can be pulled out and it can float again, is what kind of the consensus is. A lot of people don't want to see her kind of taken away, because when you head down River Road, when you head towards Oscoda, the way the River Queen is set up on Footsite Park, that's like the first thing you see. And so without it being there, I think it's going to be weird for everyone because it's been there for so long and everyone seems to love it.
Sure. So you mentioned you have been on it before?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was in the third grade and it's like a 3-hour ride. It was super fun from what I remember. But yeah, I feel like everyone there kind of had like a tie to it in some way. And then even just last summer when we did the story about why they couldn't have their season, Lori took me through the boat. She showed me their upgrades and her plans when they could get it pulled up. That unfortunately didn't work out. But yeah, it's sad to see it like that.
Sure. Anything else that you want to mention before we let you go, Audrey, about this latest update?
I know there's some concerns with a lot of contaminants from the boat, from my understanding. It's just a little car engine that's on there with a little bit of oil, and there's not a huge concern for it to contaminate and completely cause harm to the river. They are maintaining that. I'm sure they're going to continue to maintain that. I just know there was a lot of concerns from the people in the crowd of possible contamination, and so far nothing has entered the river.
All right, good to know, Audrey. Thank you so much for joining us and providing us with all this additional information on the latest update when it comes to the Au Sable River Queen. I know this is a story that we will continue to follow, so we'll probably hear from you again in the next couple of days or weeks on any updates. But I do have one more story that I want to share with you folks before we take a quick commercial break. There is an animal shelter in northern Michigan that could use your help. The Little Traverse Bay Humane Society is sending out an urgent call for support. The society rescued more than 50 dogs and cats just in the past couple of weeks. Now, staff say that they do try to take in as many animals as possible, but large batches can place a significant strain on their resources. The society collected dogs from local Petoskey rescues and received more than 30 cats from a single cat colony in Sheboygan.
Unfortunately, a lot of those pets were not spayed or neutered and didn't have owners, so they were able to make a lot of kittens. Whether you own a pet or you're taking care of cats in a colony situation outside, or you're looking to adopt, it's really important to make sure that your animal is spayed or neutered. It's going to increase the lifespan of that pet and just help reduce that pet overpopulation in the area.
And we're told some of the recent additions have already been adopted. All adoptable animals are spayed and neutered, up to date on vaccines and microchipped. They also come with pet insurance and a free training session. Now, the society also accepts any support in the form of donations. We have much more information on our website, UpNorthLive.com. All right, let's take a quick break that I just talked about. And coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll bring Joe back in, and he'll have much more on the upcoming weather. He mentioned a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain, maybe some lightning. He'll unpack all of that straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, if you are a fan of pretty quiet and calm weather, today is your day. Tomorrow, not so much. Let's turn things over to Joe, who mentioned we could see some rain, lightning, maybe some snow.
Yeah, they're all possible later tomorrow, and then especially tomorrow night into early Thursday. So it's coming in. This isn't, I think, a system you'll remember a year from now, but it'll be a little messy Thursday. It's also Severe Weather Awareness Week here in Michigan, and the first spotter class that the National Weather Service puts on is going to be tomorrow in Emmett County. So this is going to be at the North Central Michigan College, the Bora Learning Center, room 122. The classes are free, so no charge to attend. And once you take one of these classes, you become then a certified weather spotter for the National Weather Service. So that taking place tomorrow night at 6 o'clock there in Petoskey. And there'll be a number of others. We'll keep you updated. A lot of them are going to be in April, so we'll have those for you as we get closer. Tonight, not many warnings or advisories locally, but if you get up here into the UP in Luce County, a winter weather advisory, we'll see if this gets upgraded. But right now, winter weather advisory kicks in tomorrow through Thursday for the potential of some heavier snow. Meanwhile, west of there, winter storm warnings in the central UP into northern Wisconsin tonight, where the potential exists for some heavier snowfall there. And then even further south, we're kind of following this down, blizzard warnings in red for parts of Kansas, Nebraska. Some rough weather there with what could be zero visibility at times and some blowing snow. So there's our area of low pressure way down in Kansas. It's going to track right toward northern Michigan and arrive here later tomorrow. For the time being, we've had a few showers trying to get going across the UP and far northern lower Michigan. They've not had much success reaching the ground. But I do think as we go, and we'll show you this now, as we go through tonight, north of Gaylord, the chance for some showers right there. 2, 3, 4 in the morning, maybe a couple snowflakes mixing in. Now, we're going to start the day tomorrow pretty quiet. Heading into work and school, I don't foresee too many issues. Low pressure will continue to approach the area, and then rain becomes more widespread later in the day, especially north. And in the UP, that pink, that's where we start switching things over to snow, right there. So again, if you're in Cadillac, maybe a few thunderstorms. If you're up around Newberry, heavy snow at times at the same time. And then this will completely switch to snow tomorrow night and then into early Thursday. The thing is, though, while the roads may be messy Thursday morning, the snow's not going to last very long. It'll be out of here by the afternoon. And I think, believe it or not, maybe some sunshine in the afternoon hours Thursday. Here's a look at snowfall across the area, a couple inches by late tomorrow around Newberry. And that's where, again, I think some of the heavier snow is possible. And then right near Lake Michigan, 3 to 4 inches perhaps, kind of messy, kind of slushy. Most of that will be Wednesday night and early Thursday is when that will fall. Windy weather too, especially Thursday. And there's a look ahead. Quiet weather returns Friday, and then we cool right back down. Look at the highs Saturday, 20s and 30s, a few snow showers. Another chance Maya on Monday for some snow or a rain-snow mix early next week. So winter trying to hang on here a little bit.
All right, thanks so much for that, Joe. And we are going to take a quick commercial break, but coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll check in with sports director Harrison Beebe. Stay with us. There are two Northern Michigan teams left in the girls basketball quarterfinals. For a look ahead to those matchups, let's turn things over to sports director Harrison Beebe.
Hey, Maya, we've come down to the final week for the high school winter sports seasons. We've got girls' state championships for basketball to take care of before we wrap things up for the winter. We've got two Northern Michigan teams still in the pursuit of a state title and two who are very familiar with this time of year. In the Division IV state quarterfinals, here's a look at the bracket. We know that St. Ignace is in one quarterfinal going up against Ewan Trout Creek, and we know 2 games down, Frankfort is going up against Fowler in the other quarterfinal, 2 of the respective 4. You see the other 2 matches, Fire and Center, Zion Christian and Concord, while Morenci and Genesee Christian are at the far end of the bracket. Winners tonight advance to the Breslin Center in East Lansing for the state semifinals on Thursday, and you can move it along in the bracket. If they win from there, they would play for a state championship Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So right now, we could potentially have an all-Northern Michigan State Championship game. We've seen Frankfort and St. Ignace meet in the state semifinals. That was 10 years ago. I was in attendance for that one at the Breslin Center. This year, it would not be until the finals if the Panthers and Saints cross paths. St. Ignace has been ranked number 1 all year in Division IV, so it seems like a team of destiny, as they have not been to this stage in the Final Four in 6 seasons, which is hard to believe with Dorian Ingalls-led team. Frankfort was just in the semifinals a year ago. The Panthers looking for back-to-back trips, but Fowler will be a tough out. Both games start at 7 o'clock tonight, and we will have highlights of both those matchups and find out who, if any, will be making that trip down to the Breslin Center this Thursday. We didn't get any boys teams going down this year, so it'd be nice to see Northern Michigan represented, at least on the girls' side, in at least one of those semifinal meetings, and maybe the state championship game on Saturday. That's going to do it for your look at unscripted sports. Back to you, Maya.
And let's not forget, Harrison mentioned if Frankfort wins everything, he'll dye his hair purple. But of course, we also want to cheer for St. Ignace, but I want to see Harrison's hair purple. All right, let's take a quick break, but we'll be right back with the live results of our question of the day in just a couple minutes.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today, do you think vape and other non-tobacco products should be taxed like cigarettes? You can see the live results. 75% say yes, 25% say no. Over on Facebook, we'll see what some of you folks are saying. Ken says they are creating medical issues at taxpayers' cost. So like cigarettes and alcohol, tax them. Where Dale says never wish a tax on another person's habit. Tomorrow could be yours. It could be Coca-Cola next, maybe fast food. Interesting perspective. Join the conversation on our Facebook page. We are out of time. We'll see you back here tonight on Up North Live News at 11.